Hello, welcome to a live edition of the O&G Strike Zone. I'm Bryan Fulford. That's Kelvin Rozier and his chair, and Marcus Green. Look like in the background, he got about 6 chairs, and we are the O&G Strike Zone. So watch yourself, Montgomery Brawl. Watch yourself. That's all I can say. How you doing, Kelvin? What's good tonight? Kelvin. Okay, let me go to Marcus. Marcus, how are you doing tonight? I don't know. How are you? How are you doing? Let me make sure I get my audio squared away. Everybody sounds like they're tucked away in a tunnel somewhere. Shot here. Let's make sure we're all here. We're all here. Kelvin, how you doing tonight? I worked on all of our audio issues before the show started. Now I can't hear anybody. Marcus, how about you? You sound like you're in a tunnel somewhere. Kelvin, I'm not hearing you at all. All right. Somebody give me a thumbs up there. And if you're hearing me, give me a thumbs up. I see a lot of people in the chat room already. I don't know why we're having these kind of issues here. Kelvin, we still can't hear you. Let me try something here, Kelvin. All right, Kelvin, bringing you back in. Let's see. Any better? Kelvin. Maybe he logged out. Unbelievable. Marcus, how are you doing? I don't know, Marcus. I don't hear what your yeah, Marcus, it sounds J Mac said, Marcus, it sounds like you're under a comforter. So I don't know. Apparently anyone can only hear me. So I don't know what happened in the midst of going live here, fellas. So everybody double check their audio. See, Kelvin got some new equipment. Everything was working out in the pre-show. Then all of a sudden, we go live and we're having issues. You guys got to give me some kind of talk back, some 1, 2, 3s. Marcus. All right. So, yeah, Chuck, I appreciate you guys. So we're hearing me right now. We're not hearing anybody else right now. So Marcus and Kelvin, do me a favor. Log out and log back in. Let's see if we can reset our settings. I'll give a quick shout out to everybody since folks can hear me. We'll kind of just do a quick shout out to everybody jumping in and say hi to the family who's in. Kenneth Rozier, good to see you. J Mac, appreciate you. Let's see, Bull's already checking in. Good reminder, Bull. Yes, for all those folks out there, go ahead and renew those booster memberships. Congratulations, Bull, on becoming a life member. That's something that I gotta take care of myself, becoming a life member. Gotta say hello to Mary 305. Melissa Wilson. Since Kelvin's not here, I will say it. Hi. Good to see you jumping in there. A lot of you guys jumped in early. We appreciate you guys doing that. Kenya Sykes jumping in. Good to see you, Kenya. Meredith. Tamara T getting in. Let me see. Anybody else I missed? Tremaine Ellis. All right. Hey, well, we appreciate the wait. We appreciate you waiting. Hopefully, we don't disappoint. We got a good show lined up for you today. Coming up, we've got Coach G, Coach Garfield Ellenwood, the second, our head director of track and field and cross country, is going to join us here coming up in about 10 minutes. So that's why I really want the guys to kind of figure out and get their systems all squared away so we can talk to Coach G. And then we've also got Coach Gokhan Yilmaz joining us in somewhere at the bottom, about 8:40. So the volleyball team is back on the court practicing. So we're going to get a chance to catch up with him. And if you saw the video, the promotional videos or the pictures, we got a few new people. So we're going to talk to him about those new Lady Rattlers. And then coming up in the second hour, Vaughn Wilson, HBCU game day, we're going to talk about his trip to Canton, Ohio. So let me bring the guys in one by one and keep our fingers crossed that we got them in there. First up, Mr. Kelvin Rozier. Kelvin, how you doing tonight? Still can't hear you, Kelvin. You may have to go back to the old headset. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I hate it for you because you sounded so good earlier. I don't understand what happened. All right, let me take you off and let me go to Marcus Green. Marcus Green, fingers crossed. Marcus, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
All right. I'm hello. A little bit better. How about without the head? Are you on, Marcus? I'm curious. Whatever settings you were doing last week, go back to that. I don't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Love it. Let's bring in Kelvin. Kelvin, how you doing? This is beautiful. This is live television, folks. Sometimes these kind of things happen with the internet and live TV. All right, we're gonna give guys an opportunity here. Let me do some more shout outs. Again, I'm gonna encourage my guys in the background. Just log off, log back in, go back to whatever you were doing last week. Last week you worked. Everything worked well last week. Chuck Hunt, we appreciate you checking in from Monroe, Louisiana. Good to see you. Let's see who else is in. James Austin, we appreciate you coming in as well. Corinthia Morgan, appreciate you checking in. Montre Bennett as well. Yeah, I saw this news too. That's real interesting. Allison Posey, one of the things that just kind of broke over the internet is return. Now, is she returning to WCTV or did she go over from one network to the other? Like I thought she was over at the competitor and now she's at the competitor. Like she went across the street pretty much. So I'm curious to see. But anyway, Allison always does a good job of covering FAMU Athletics. Shaco, we appreciate you jumping in. Marcus, how you doing, my man? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. Want to get these guys in there. So just so everybody knows, we are 25 days away from the Orange Blossom Classic. And I'm curious. I mean, first off, how many of us are going? Hopefully most of our folks here are going. Have you already purchased your tickets? If not, I'm going to encourage you to go take a look at, if you're looking at or have thought about purchasing club seats for the Orange Blossom Classic, our good friend Mike Reed is doing a great promotion for us. I'm going to bring that up while I'm waiting on the guys to jump in here. And through Mike Reed's website here, just looking out, that's JUSLOOKIN.com. So again, That's JUSLOOK out.com. So if you make sure to head out to that website, and then that's the website you see right there. If you purchase one of these premium club level seats, which they're $109, and when you go to check out right in this area here, when you go to check out at the club level for a single ticket, put in the group code right there. Just put in StrikeZone or put in BCSN, either way, and a small portion of the proceeds will come back to the show. It'll be a great way of helping us keep this thing going so that we can do more road trips. We're looking to do some I should say pre and post game stuff on site from some games this year. So again, want to encourage you, go to justlookingout.com. Of course, Mike has seats in section 249. So that is primarily that's about the 10 to 20 yard line, I believe. Club level, just behind the marching 100. The marching 100 is sitting in section 150. And then if those seats in section 249 end up being sold, well, if they sell out rather, then he has an overflow in section 250. Okay, so that's in section 250. All right, let's do this. I'm going to take a short break because I want to make sure we can get the guys figured out. Also, I want to make a quick check here, make sure everything's all good with our first guest. So we'll do all that here in just a second. We're going to go to a short break. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum designed for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford, and I hope and pray we hear from Kelvin Rozier. Kelvin.
Hello, is this thing on?
Oh, okay, we got some audio. It sounds like you are on an airplane delivering or not an airplane, but a helicopter, like you're about to do the traffic in the morning. But I think we got you. We hear you. Say something again.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Okay. We got some audio. We'll hey, some audio is better than no audio, right?
And I don't know what the.
Well, hey, that's all right. We'll act like you'll tell us what the traffic is like in Tallahassee here in just a moment. We in between commercials, you can give us the traffic report. Hey, all right. Well, that's all right. Don't worry about it. While we got you in, let's get ready for our next guest. I got Coach G ready up in the studio. I'm waiting on him to pop back on the screen because I know he's there. We're waiting on him. Yeah, Chuck Hunt. We know it sounds like he's on an airplane, but that's all right though. Hey, all right. Let's get ready for our first guest here. Looks like he is all squared away and ready to go. So I'm going to bring him up. Let's see. Coach G, are you there? Coach. Let's see. Coach, are you there? Let's give it a second here. We'll give Coach a second to, let's see. We see you, Coach. You're looking good. Let's see if we can hear you. How about now? Not now? All right, hold on. I'm going to do one thing here, Coach. Don't
Bryan,
go anywhere.
sure
I don't think it's me. Hold on a second, Coach. I don't think it's me. Hold on. Let's try to bring him back in. Coach, are you there? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, Coach. Can you hear me? Okay, let's see. Let's do this. All right, let me do one thing here. We'll figure this out here in just a second. Coach, I'm gonna have you log off and do a log off and log back on for me if you can, Coach. Hopefully, if you can hear me. Let's see. Make sure you're not muted here. Try to bring you back on here. Coach, how we doing tonight? Any chance you're there? Nope. Okay, so he's going to try to log back in and log off. Man, I tell you, the internet, Kelvin, it's one of them days today.
It is, man. I'm telling you, man. We tested everything. We sounded great before the show started, and now can't nobody get on.
I know. Here
okay,
we go.
what about now? Can you hear me?
We hear you now, Coach. There you are.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes for some reason, I don't know, maybe you said you were on an iPhone. So I think sometimes the iPhone initially, if it doesn't pick up, it acts a little funky. We've had this happen before, but it's all good. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your time. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. I'm blessed. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we're glad to have you on. I appreciate you jumping back on with us. Again, my apologies for last week. Let everybody know out there, it was totally on me. So Coach G was gracious enough to come back and join us. Hey, so So, Coach, obviously, let's kind of get in with you a little bit because you had to get into the job and really you had to get going. I mean, you almost didn't have a chance to get your bags unpacked, to go through the pomp and circumstance of, hey, this is Coach G, let's meet him. It was just like, hey, Coach, we got hired, we got to get going. It's the season. So let's tell Rattler Nation a little bit about your background, and kind of what that experience was like back in January, February, trying to get going and get a season started.
Okay, well, I've been coaching 23 years. Had multiple stops, had NCAA champions, Olympians, things of that nature. Fast forward, got hired on January 3rd, had our first team meeting January 7th, practiced right after the team meeting, and was on the plane to go to New York. The first meet that Friday, which was, I think, January the 12th or 13th. So just hit the ground running, try to get acclimated, meet the kids, give them some stability because they pretty much were kind of up and down, basically with a part-time coach or a part-time head coach from, I think it was April, May, up until that point. So just trying to solidify some type of stability for them and let them know where the program was going and what we were trying to do moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And your official title is the director of track and field and cross country. So you oversee both. Obviously it says a little more than just head coach. What does that role entail for you, and sort of, if you explain that to Rattler Nation, and what does it mean? Is it a little bit different than just, say, head coach or head X?
No, I mean, it all encompasses the same. You have to
Okay.
make sure all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. Paperwork, from everything from physicals to certification through compliance, all the behind the scenes work, as well as being a coach out on the track.
Gotcha.
I still refer to myself, I'm just a head coach. At the end of the day, it all encompasses the same, making sure the vision is set for the athletes to understand. You're student first, athlete second, and then make sure everything falls into place, and that's done.
Gotcha. Kelvin, go ahead.
First, I need to make sure y'all can hear me.
We can. Thumbs up. We hear you.
Okay, good. All right, Coach. So talk about your process, your thought process in building this program. Because as you say, we've had him for a prolonged period of time. And on the men's side especially, there were sanctions at one time, and then, there was some other challenges. So just talk about the process of building the program, and where are you and where are you trying to go?
Well, first it was about getting in coaches that I needed to be able to fulfill the event areas that were in need. I was able to do that. I was able to bring on Coach Tamika Kenshin, which is basically our head cross country coach and distance coach. Brought in our jumps coach, Sharon Williams. I brought on the throw coach, Jose Hernandez, and then I have Robert Detweiler to assist me in sprints and hurdles. So once I was able to get that in place, then it's about just setting a level of expectation for the athletes, letting them know that this is what's expected. We're raising the bar. I said it on my interview. I've said it when I've spoken to the 220 quarterback club and anyone that'll listen. I want to be the first HBCU to win a national championship. So we have to recruit those type of athletes, student athletes, because at the end of the day, FAMU is a highly academic institution. So we have to get athletes that not only can perform on the track, but can perform in the classroom. So that's been our charge, and we've been moving forward towards that.
One of the things, Coach, that I've noticed when you look at when it's time to get into the SWAC tournament, obviously you have familiarity with the SWAC. You're very successful at another institution in the SWAC, and I feel like we're chasing them. but I feel like we're gonna catch them. So let me just I ain't gonna say them. Yeah, I'm not gonna say who it is. Folks can go look it up all they want. But one thing I've noticed, like we have had a lot of success in our sprints and with our individuals, but I feel like what is the key or the secret to I feel like it's more than just actually winning. There's a pattern that comes with trying to have the right number of events fielded and finishing in those events. For example, teams I've seen win seem to have a lot of people in those distance events, where lately it doesn't seem like FAMU has had a lot of people entering those races. So what's the strategy? How do you attack the strategy of getting FAMU to that place where we move into that top 1, 2, 3? Because I feel like we're right there.
Well, for us, we focus on our strengths. And because we don't have the full complement of coaches, we're building this program. I'm building this program around the strength of the staff that I have.
Okay.
Number one is going to be sprints, hurdles, and relays, because at the end of the day, I'm going to put it on my shoulders. So being a sprint, hurdles, and relays coach, as a friend of mine always say, I'm the spoon that's going to stir the coffee. So it's the basis, the foundation is going to be sprints, hurdles, and relays, and then we're going to branch out to the middle distance and the field events and so forth. I think the coaches that I have in place are coaches with experience. They've all taken people to the NCAA championships, and that's the key. When you have coaches that have done it, the athletes, they know how to identify the talent, and two, they have the pedigree because they've done it. So the athletes will believe in what we're selling. And if we attack those areas that our strengths are, I think we'll be pretty successful.
Okay. Before I turn it over to Kelvin, we're not shy talking about needs and wants on this show. Because we want to find a way to get money into your program so that your needs, so that your wants and needs get answered. What does yours, in a perfect scenario, how many coaches and staffing would you have? You mentioned you got a staff of 4 people. What does a full staff for Coach G really look like if you have all that you need and want?
Well, it's myself and Coach Kinchen are full time. The other 2 of the other 3 are part time, and 1 is a volunteer. In a perfect world, I would like myself and 4 full time assistants. We're going up against the other universities that are competing for national championships. At the NCAA championships there's a new rule passed that you can have 12 full time coaches.
Wow.
Yeah. So some have taken advantage of it, some have, but that's it can go anywhere from 1 to 12. In a perfect world, myself and 4, I think we'd be fine, because we're going quality versus quantity.
I got you. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, I want you to talk about your roster management. We're going into the cross-country season. Where are we in terms of your numbers for your cross-country athletes? And then also, with the indoor and your outdoor, where are we in terms of numbers as far as scholarships? Can you recruit the full amount? Do you have scholarships to fill? Just kind of talk about that whole roster management piece.
Yes, we've been blessed to be fully funded both on the men's side and the women's side. So on the men's side, we have 12.6. On the women's side, we have 18. So that's definitely a blessing. As far as cross country, we have 8 to 10. Our roster's up to 10. 5 score, so we're carrying 10. Won't carry any more than that. As far as the indoor, we have 27 men and 29 women, and we'll keep it right about that, because again, budget restraints and things of that nature, I went out and we really tried to solidify and say we want quality athletes that can do multiple events to spread out across to be able to score at the conference meet, but also have the talent to be able to score at the NCAA championships. My thought process is, if we build an NCAA level program, we will get the conference. You start up and come back down. Okay. That's the process that we did at a school down in Daytona. I did down in Daytona, and at a school that we did in Greensboro. And those are the highest two finishes from any HBCU with the NCAA championship. So I think we can do the same thing here.
So give us some names, Coach, of some guys, some young ladies that we might can look out that have a chance to be successful if they continue to buy into the program.
I'm not really one to. That's why I didn't put a signee thing out or anything. I'm one of those kind of guys that, hey, I just want to fly under the radar, and you'll see it when the time comes. But I will say this: if you check the webpage, we do have the World Junior Gold Medal. He just won the World Junior Championships, Tyler Ascano, and that was a big sign for us. And he believed in the process. He believed in what we're trying to do here, both academically and athletically. And he turned down Power 5 institutions to come here and be a Rattler. So that lets you know kind of the direction we're going.
Okay. And what year
it did not go unnoticed, Coach.
Oh yeah, no. We make sure to retweet those victories, no doubt. What year will he come in as? And
he's a freshman, true freshman.
Oh wow. Okay. Ooh. And where's he coming from? City State.
Orlando. He's right out of Orlando. East Ridge. I think it's East Ridge High School.
Oh, okay, yeah, my backyard. Right here. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, there's a lot. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. What else did I? Oh, okay. So already, folks in the chat rooms want to know about the FAMU relays. It obviously was one of those things that I think I heard A.D. Sykes mention on a town hall meeting somewhere that it's one of those goals of hers to work and find a way to bring that back. So while we have you, what can you tell us about the FAMU relays and when can we expect that to return? Roughly.
Roughly, our goal is roughly 2025. We want to do it and we want to do it right. We're in the process of, we just did a site visit with the AAU Junior Olympics to try and host that from June 22nd to June 26th, which will give us a dry run to be prepared for the FAMU relays. We have to get some upgrades done to the facility so that we can put on a quality meet. You just don't want to put on a meet. You want to put on a meet where we're going to get good performances so that people will want to come back. We want to be in a position to be able to honor the alumni and do all the things that the Rattlers want, but do it the right way. So that we can, because at the end of the day, teams want to go to a meet where they're going to get fast time to qualify for the NCAA regionals and the NCAA championships and the Olympic trials. So we want to be able to make sure that we have everything in place to do that, as well as serve the needs of all alumni and make it a big party at the end of the day. But we want those performances as well.
So I'm gonna be a novice here, which really I am. When you say that, what does that mean? Because I mean, when you say you want to have so how does the site play into helping the runners achieve those times? You know, a novice might think, oh well, if you're fast, you're fast. So if you would kind of explain it to help people understand what you're referring to a little bit.
Well, one you want to make sure that your surface is up to the par, making sure all the little knick-knack, the small hole things that need to be resurfaced, relined, things of that nature. You want to be able to make sure that you can run, say, the hurdle events in either direction because of wind. Because if the wind will slow down the times, which if you get slower times, because you can only run one way, that makes people not want to come to your venue because you put them at a disadvantage. We also want to make sure that the flow, that we have the right areas set up for team camps, warm-up area, officials to be able to do what they need to do, clerking, things so that everything runs smoothly and on time. So that when your time schedule is set, you're going to run. If you're set to run at 3 o'clock, you're going to run at 3 o'clock and you're not 30, 45 minutes behind, which all brings problems for performance. Because at the end of the day, people are coming for the performance.
That's a great explanation. That's great. Thank you for that. Kelvin, what else you got?
So talk about why you decided to come and accept the FAMU job. Why were you interested in it? And just some goals, the media
I mean,
goals.
this was the third time I had applied for it.
Okay.
Third time's the charm,
So,
Coach. Third time's the charm.
So what's the
third time is
track?
the charm. Yeah, you know. FAMU, the history, you know, the history of the institution as itself. It's a brand, you know, for some of the let's say the PWI, Michigan's a brand, Florida's a brand, FAMU is a brand.
Yes.
And it's like if you line up 10 track and field athletes at any given time, you know, at a track meet, especially here in Florida, 9 out of 10 of them athletes, parents, somebody is affiliated with Florida A&M, whether it's an aunt, uncle, somebody is affiliated with being a Rattler. And it just offers, especially from a recruiting standpoint, when you have so many people that are affiliated with the university, you can't help but be in a position to be successful. You just have to go out, recruit those athletes, and give them something to want to be a part of. I mean, it was amazing. And actually, once I finally got here, I'm like, Rattlers take care of Rattlers. I've never, you know, I went to Seton Hall University in New Jersey, and to be here in the support in the alumni base, I've never experienced anything like that.
Wow.
When I first got here, I was invited over to talk to the 220 quarterback club, and everyone there made you feel like you was family, and they just met me. You know, everyone was just supportive, told them what I needed. Boom. Next thing I know, they took care of it. It was like, wow. And I've never experienced anything like that from outside help. Some of the other institutions I've been to, you just had the budget to go get it. But to have that support, you know, you can't. I haven't seen anything like it myself, and I'm appreciative of it.
Right. Let me get you out of here. One last question, one more that I saw in the chat room here, asking about any chance of the men's cross country potentially coming back. What would that take?
That's above my pay grade.
Honest answer.
That's above my pay grade.
But is it?
We're all for it. We're all for it because hey, that's another opportunity to get a championship. Right now, our goal is 5 and move to 6.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's something that it's on the wants. It's on the wants list.
Yeah, it's on the want list. It's on the want list. Yeah,
all right.
If I had to prioritize, it would be getting the coaches in place so that if we bring it in now, we're fully complete. Because again, it's about, you know, you guys are affiliated. We have to make sure that we're within the budgetary limits that we have, being able to field the team where athletes feel that they get what their counterparts are getting, both academically, athletically, as well as the gear. All those things play into a role when you're talking about student athletes these days. So I don't want to stretch myself so thin that we don't have what we have to service the athletes that we do have. But I'm hoping that with winning, winning cures a lot of things.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, hey, Coach, I want to give you the last word to give any shout outs or talk about anything upcoming that you want to share with Rattler Nation. I know cross country season's coming up. So before we end our time here tonight, I want to give you the last word. Anything you want to plug or talk about, mention.
My staff and I were grateful. We're thankful to be here. Thank you to VP Sykes and VP Smith for continuously supporting us. We have a foundation. If anyone wants to contribute to that foundation, it will help us get these athletes. Right now, my goal is I'm already trying to think ahead to the Olympic trials and the time that we'll be out there, which is outside of the NCAA competition season. So funds to have these athletes be in a position to be able to go to the 2024 Olympic trials. The more support we can get towards that will be greatly appreciated. And we're ready to make Rattler Nation proud.
All right. And I know you're on. What's your social media handles, Coach, so people can reach out to you and follow you and give you love out there?
I don't have. Well, I mean, I'm really not on it like that. I'm on Facebook. Okay. The kids say, "Coach, you old." I have a Instagram. It's Coach.G. Yeah, it's Coach.G. My Twitter is the same Coach.G, but I'm more an old Facebook guy. But anything, hey, hit us on the FAMU Twitter and FAMU Track and Field Twitter and Instagram, and you can always email me or stop by the track.
All right. All right. Again, Coach G, we appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you. Anytime you got anything that you want to share or promote, you always got a place right here. All you got to do is send me a text, and it's done. We'll get it done for you, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. You guys be blessed.
All right. You too. All right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
All right. Coach Garfield Ellenwood, the second, our head coach, cross country, women's cross country, and track and field program. All right. Real quick, let me see this. Hey, Marcus. Marcus, you still sound like you're underwater. Uh-oh. All right. Well, let's do this. We're going to take a break and come back with Coach Gokhan Yilmaz. I know he's waiting, so we'll take a quick 2-minute break, come back with Coach Gokhan, and we'll keep this thing rolling as best as possible. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. Be back in 2.
I have in me the ability to make you a better you. So if you work hard, focus, stay on point, you can do anything. Trust me.
We made this track to tell everybody they can follow their dreams.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Remember the revival? Relive the remix. Reunite for the Orange Blossom Classic. HBCU Reunion Experience. It's year 3, baby, and we back with that fire. Calling all HBCU fans. Labor Day weekend. The I Love Jackson State University takes on the venomous Florida A&M University. Tickets are on sale now. Watch the game in premium style seating or watch it from a luxury suite. And of course, you know the halftime show is going to be epic right here in the 305. The sonic boom of the South and the illustrious Marching 100. Who you rocking with? The 2023 Orange Blossom Classic. Don't miss the HBCU Reunion Experience. Labor Day weekend, Miami Gardens, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium. Trust me, we'll see you there. Oh. Check out orangeblossomclassic.com for tickets and info.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus.
Can you hear me?
Man, look, you sound beautiful now. Look at you.
What about me? Can you hear me?
Man. Now everybody's in. Everybody comes in like the Marching 100 on game day, sounding crystal clear in full surround sound. Okay, we'll talk about why this happened later, but let's get ready to bring on our next guest because we don't want to keep him. We can't keep. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's the head coach of our 2-time SWAC volleyball champions, Coach Gokhan Yilmaz. Coach, how you doing, sir?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Hey, we appreciate you coming on with us. As you can see behind you, Coach is live from Gaither Gymnasium. Looks like you had a practice tonight, Coach.
We did, yes. We finished our second day, so we already finished 4 practices, and we're scheduled to practice at 10:30 tomorrow morning again.
Nice. I recall we talked about this last year about how it appears how late volleyball practice starts? It's like in the number of practices you get before the first game. Any changes in NCAA rules recently, or is there any upcoming NCAA legislation that might give you guys more opportunity to practice, or do you like the kind of current format the way it's set up?
Yeah, I can answer it in reverse order. I really don't like it. And today we were talking about it with our new compliance person, Brittany, and she's doing a great job for us in that standpoint from the compliance office. And volleyball has been thinking, volleyball coaches and our association, American Volleyball Coaches Association, that we would have more access to the kids during summer. Absolutely, we have none right now. So there has even been proposals that the preseason would be extended to, let's say, 30 days or so from 17. Right now, it's only 17 days before the first competition. And it used to be 29 units. There was a interesting way of counting units of practice when you're out of school. When you're in school, people were getting confused with it. It just didn't make too much sense. 2 years ago, they changed it to 17 days prior your first competition. And that puts us on August 8th as the report date. So it's very limited time, and it really wears out everybody, because if you practice a lot, it's a problem. If you don't practice enough, it's a problem. And if your group is not here over the summer, which we don't offer summer school for every student athlete, but this was the best year I had in terms of that. It's really an interesting thing to have. Very short time, creates a lot of injuries, burnout, very difficult to manage. But what we learned over the time is more practice is not necessarily better. So we are taking some days lighter, and we are going 2 days of 2 practices and 1 day of 1 practice until we play our exhibition against West Florida. And then we'll manage it a little bit lighter before the actual opening at University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Right. I hate to start the show talking politics of the NCAA. What kind of, I'm just curious, what kind of explanations do they give for these policies in a time when you think they'd want to give student athletes more time instead of having them practice more in a shorter time span? I'm just curious myself.
I don't think it's necessarily having more time. I think it has to do with funding. I mean, if you think about it, it's haves and have-nots, and there is people that can offer summer school forever, and there is universities that can offer limited summer school, and there is universities that can offer no summer school. So per se, if you go and make a point that you can start 30 days prior, I know maybe half of the universities that support women's volleyball might not be able to start that early, because again, you have to bring the girls in, you have to pay housing, you have to pay meals. So it becomes very expensive to be able to host the preseason camps. And I think that's why football, men's and women's basketball are the only ones right now that has summer access to their student athletes.
Gotcha. All right. Kelvin, go ahead.
Coach, I saw you had your ring ceremony, but Coach, I want you to kind of talk about the pressure of trying to three-peat, number one, with an interesting squad. So your roster this year, you have some freshmen, you have a few returnees, and then you got some transfers. But essentially, this is kind of a new team in some ways. So we're trying to get all that together within a 2-week time frame before your first scrimmage. Talk about, it's good to have expectations, being champions, but just talk about the challenge of your roster this year, and do you approach it any differently without having all, a big core of returners?
Yeah, let me start with the rings. I really appreciate Tiffany finding funding for those. It's really turned into an interesting situation there. And the ones we got this year are much better than the ones we did last year. So I really appreciate what she's done with it. And she's doing an amazing job as our athletics director. I know there were some people out there that were hesitant and all that. I don't want to go into all of those, but we really trusted her resume when we met her as coaches. We really felt a very good connection, and she's doing a fantastic job being accessible, providing us knowledge, and also understanding how things work in an athletic department our size. Going back to the roster, I mean, we're almost coming off of the COVID seniors being out of the circulation for every school. And we only have two right now. Two of our 5th and 6th year players have that COVID tag. But I made this point before when I was named the head volleyball coach here. When Dr. Eason hired me, we only had one domestic player that played on our team. Alexis Gaucher was from Apopka, Florida. We did not have the history of recruiting kids domestically. We did not have any recruiting lists. And it takes a while to get to that point. And then the other part was it's challenging to go see the kids across the country if you don't have the funds. So it took us 3 years about to be able to get to a point where we establish relationships with these kids. Because the other thing we want is we haven't had any transfer outs here. We bring kids in. We've done a good job with transfer ins and graduated them. So any kid I bring, I really feel like we have to have connection with them. They have connection with the university, with the staff, with the team, so they stay here and graduate. And that's the reason why it's taken us some time to bring quality freshmen in. And they are very good. They're kids that had multiple offers from different places, chose to come here. And I think they're going to do great things for our volleyball program. Transfers, again, it's a good tradition for us to be able to look out for kids that are coming from even SWAC schools. We transferred a second SWAC player. We had one last year. Jada Taylor came from Grambling. Caitlin Scroggins this year is coming from Texas Southern. And I think they're going to do a good job too. And unfortunately, we lost 2 players. We didn't expect losing late in summer. We couldn't replace them. And we still have one that's outside of the country trying to get her paperwork together and come in and join us. But luckily, she played for her U23 national team. She's now practicing with the senior national team back home. I'm expecting it to be a good team again. And from pressure standpoint, we don't make a big deal about winning championships. Our goal is to improve every week and get better with first non-conference schedule and then once the conference starts. But competitive-wise, SWAC is going to be better than it's been in the last 2 years. Alabama State keeps bringing their squads. Very good coaching staff there. Very well supported. Grambling State keeps adding to what they have. And Bethune-Cookman's younger players are now maturing. So I'm expecting them to have a great year too. It will be very competitive. But I always believe in my players and what we do here. And I always tell them there's a reason we recruit them. We think they can win at a high level. And we think they're a great fit here. So our expectation is not necessarily a championship. Our expectation is to have a quality experience, but also improve throughout the year.
Okay.
All right. For anybody who may not have seen those rings that Coach mentioned, those things are big, Coach. I noticed that when I saw the video, and then when I saw them on the girls' hands, I was like, "Holy cow, those are beauty." So yeah, shout out to AD Sykes for upgrading. 2-time champs get twice as big rings, I guess is the thing, huh? Marcus, go ahead there with Coach.
Good evening, Coach. I guess kind of piggybacking off of Kelvin's question, given that we're having about 7 returning players and 8 or 9 new players, and I know teams change from year to year based on the skill set and experience, do you expect to have a different type of style of play with the players that you have from now since Dominique has left, or do you believe it'll continue on in that same style of play?
Well, from the standpoint of the graduate ones, I mean, we lost probably 2 of the best players that played here, with Iram graduating as a setter, and she started playing professional immediately. And Dominique had opportunities to go and play. I mean, not only great players, but great people as well. And then we lost another hitter in the middle that's not coming back due to an injury and a family situation. But we're also bringing back players who have championship experience. Brooke Watts was a great player last year and rose to the occasions multiple times when needed. We're bringing back Brooke Hudson, who was the Defensive Player of the Year. I think she's going to do a great job there again. Isis Williams in the middle. She's been here for a long time. She's my first recruit here at FAMU. Kalia Todd, Dominique Turner, all of those guys are very experienced. From different style of play, we have two very good setters right now. And they both have extensive experience. One started for a junior college back-to-back years. Her team was in the national finals last year, so she has very high-level experience. That's Alex Koleva. And London Hatch, we recruited 2 years ago coming out of high school, and we had a relationship with her and with her family. And that was the time that the other two transfer setters became available. We were never ready to make an offer, and then London ended up going to Lamar and started for them. So she has the experience of starting in 5-1 for a Division I school. But they both are very good. So we might try playing with two setters. That adds another offensive player to the system. And some of the incoming players are extremely physical. And so you're going from 5 attackers to 6 attackers. That's definitely doable. And with the number of defensive specialists we have and the experience they bring in, we might use those guys in the back row for some of the front row players. I always go into preseasons with an open mind. I don't make lineups before we get closer to the exhibition match. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, everything is on the table. But it has been good practices so far. So everybody understands we will do our best to find a spot for them where they can contribute to the team. And that's our goal.
Okay. And actually, kind of a follow-up question, since you mentioned some of the players, especially Miss Hatch. I was going to ask, for some of the transfers that have come in over the summer, did you have a previous recruiting relationship with them, and that was kind of like a seed planted with them? Or was it more, someone's in the portal and she has a skill set that would fit, and it was more of a relationship after the portal entry, or a combination of both?
Well, London was the only one we had extensive relationship with, and we had communications. Camilla is the other setter that's currently not in the country yet, but we recruited her coming out of junior college. She went to Miami-Dade also, but ended up going to FIU after that. She wanted to stay in Miami back then, but we had very limited conversations with her. But besides that, what we're doing is looking back how they were in high school when they come into transfer portal, talk to their coaches from high school club and also the current universities, and trying to find if they're good fits or not.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Coach, I had somebody in the chat room ask about that beautiful arena or gymnasium behind you. And, obviously with the nice floor, I remember a couple years ago, we talked about potentially playing some games in Gaither. Are there any prospects of playing some games in Gaither this year? Or before we get to talking about the schedule, are we looking at mostly playing in the Al Lawson Center?
Well, I agree that the floor is beautiful here, and we really like this facility. We think this can be a great recruiting tool for us, great home court advantage, and it can be very productive. And it's easier for us to practice here than practice in Al Lawson for multiple reasons. But the bleachers are still not functional. So if you look at the ones that are out right now, which is on this side of me, they are not functional going back and forth. And then the ones that you see further back, they're further back because we can move them further back. So there is some things that needs to be done. But as we're speaking in the front lobby, there's 2 scoreboards that they're going to be installed in the next week. They look great. So I think that's going to add a great dimension. And Bryan, who is our external person right now in athletics, he's working with a lot of different banners to be able to put in different places for championships and also All-Americans and all of those. And also customizing some of the pads we have for the polls and different things. But But with all of those in progress, once the bleachers are fixed, I think we're more interested in looking at this from that standpoint. We want to make sure that it looks great from the first steps going into the gym instead of making it halfway. And I think it's going into the right direction for sure. And if you look behind me, this venue gives us almost 3 different courts to be able to practice the way the nets are set up. There's one right behind me. There is the actual net set up the other direction. And there's one more behind us too. So it gives us ample space to be able to move the kids around and be very intentional with the practices we're running. So to answer it at the bottom end of it, Rhea Floyd does a great job with promotions for us. Her and I were talking about potentially playing one match here and adding a clinic at the end of that for local middle school kids, inviting also high schools and kind of like promoting that match, one of the conference matches, and move that here. Hopefully once the scoreboard is completed and we have a meeting next week, that would be a good start for us. And the goal is to bring the band and all of that and run it like a rehearsal to see how it would look. But I'm very interested in it. I know VP Sykes needs to be the one. We need to get her blessing to do that. But it's something that we talked for some time and we think it can be productive. But I don't know what the exact timeline for that would be.
Gotcha. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your schedule while we got you this evening. We open up with I'm assuming it's a preseason sort of or an exhibition match against West Florida. You're going to travel out to Pensacola on August the 19th. So that's about 9 days away, 9 days, 15 hours and such, according to FAMUathletics.com. And then you go into the first of a couple of tournaments before we actually host a tournament. I remember you talked about wanting to host a tournament this year. So let's talk about some of those teams that you've scheduled or some of those tournaments. The UAB tournament to open, and then you got the Jacksonville tournament. Give us a little background of what we can expect from those events and how those non-conference tournaments and opponents help you get ready for SWAC and even get ready for the regionals.
Yeah, our official start date for the matches is the 25th. That's the day we play, I think, Austin Peay University as the first match in the UAB tournament. But NCAA allows us, and this rule passed, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, to play an exhibition match, and we can only play one match. And we like playing West Florida. They're very competitive. Their coach has been a good friend for a long time. And we do home and away with them. This year we're going to them, and we're going to do it more like a team bonding trip as well. We're going to take the team to the beach, do a nice dinner there after we're done. It's a 1 o'clock match right now. So we're excited about that. And they are always great competition. So that would be a good test. And it kind of gets the nerves out of the way, too, when you play that. But if you look at the schedule, we always try to schedule teams that are competitive and that would be the type of teams we see in the NCAA tournament if we don't hit Florida's. So if we do well enough in preseason, have a chance not to be the 4th seed, Buffalo's, Austin Peay's, UAB's, South Alabama's would be the type of teams that you would be seeing on those. Even Northern Arizona has a win over Florida a couple of years back in Gainesville. So those are all quality opponents. And we're also looking at it regionally from the standpoint that we like them to be driving distance if we can, and also build the relationships where, Stetson is coming to us this year. We'll go to them next year. Austin Peay came to us last year. We're playing them on a neutral court. And UAB came here last year for a single match. We're going back to their tournament. And majority of these guys here are very good friends. So, and we're at the point where they want to play us. I think that speaks volumes of how much we have come along as a program, where Georgia Tech coming here to our place to play us says a lot. And they're seeing it as a good match. They're seeing it as a good RPI match for them, and also a competition. and same thing for rest of our schedule too. We talked about hosting a tournament a long time, and it takes a while to find sponsors. So this year, we finally have a sponsor for the tournament. I think they'll announce that soon. So one of the local companies is going to be the name sponsor for the tournament. Well, actually, it's right there, Signorama. So I see it now. So Peak Sports did a great job with finding Signorama and doing a deal with them. Also, City of Tallahassee is in the process of finding us some help with the costs of this. And I'm planning on making this an annual thing where we host every year on a weekend. There's no football here. So for next year, we already have a couple of teams that are interested in coming. And it's in the plans that we find sponsors for it, get some help with City of Tallahassee, and make this an annual tournament that we have at home.
Kelvin, go ahead. Get a last question or two in there for Coach.
Coach, your conference schedule is interesting. We start off with 5 games in a row at home, and I think we end with 5 games on the road, and then BCU at home. Do you all have any influence or say in terms of the conference scheduling, and do you like it unbalanced like that, or does it matter?
Well, we don't have influence. Conference does the schedule. The only way we make changes is Bethune-Cookman match was switched. I think the weekend they were supposed to come here, I believe there's football here, so the hotels were too expensive, so we agreed to change home and away with them. But besides that, if the coaches don't agree, which usually it takes 4 coaches to agree on all those weekends, it will have to stay the way that conference sets it up. I mean, we have to play them somehow, somewhere, so whatever it falls, we'll do our best to prepare and play. But you're right, if you travel 2-3 weekends in a row, it really takes a toll on the team. But starting next year, the scheduling will be different. It's going to be East Side playing everybody home and away. West Side will either play home and away, and it will switch every year. So it's going to what basketball does. So if we go to Houston to play Prairie View and Texas Southern this year, next year they're going to come to us. And it's a great idea. It brings more home matches. It creates more rivalries. And it helps the budget. If you think right now, we play in 2 clusters where we have to go stay and share the expenses. But moving forward, the most we can travel is 2. But on the reverse year, we're going to be only traveling once, the other 2 weekends coming to us. So you're almost spending 1.5 over a 2-year span instead of 2 trips. So I really think that was a very good decision by the coaches in SWAC and the conference office approving that. So it's starting in the next year.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, Coach, want to give you the last word to let us know anything that maybe we didn't get a chance to ask you that you want to talk about, or any shout outs or anything that you want to mention here before we close out with you tonight.
Yeah, shout out to Marcus. Marcus is always knowing who we're recruiting and who's committed. So I wonder if he has some news for me that I'm not aware of yet.
Hey, he stays on it, Coach. He stays on it. He stays on it, Coach.
No, I just follow social media and keep a good eye out for FAMU signees. So, but if you have any tips, we can talk offline.
Okay, I heard there's a website that you're looking at and all of those. I gotta learn all the secrets so I'm in the know who's committing or not, because I'm throwing out offers there and I can't tell who's committing. But going back to recruiting, with the connections that we were able to build in the last 3-4 years, and obviously with the success and the improvement of the facilities, when people come into this gym, this looks like it's done for volleyball. It means a lot for the kids and parents. So we already have very good kids committed in 2024. I can't talk about who they are, but I think one of them already announced that there's going to be one coming up for 2025. Very good player, the top player on our list. Another top player in her position, 2025, is visiting this Friday. Is going to be, I think, coming here for the 2nd time. So we also did a camp here. 2nd time, we did one my first year. later on Christmas time. And then this was the first one we did after that. Tiffany's administration did fantastic with providing us the facility. And we did it as a fundraising camp also. So it raised a lot of funds for the program and also brought some of our top recruits here on campus. And it was fantastic. You know, it was a great competition within the kids. We had kids from Colorado, from DC, from Texas, a lot of different places. So one of the one that actually committed on the way home when she left the camp. So recruiting is going well on that standpoint too. But like we mentioned earlier, our goal is to graduate everybody, run a respectable program, and see if we can win a conference championship at the end of every year. Obviously, you don't win every year. The kids change, but so far, we're very lucky. We graduated great people. They're going out there. They have jobs. They love their experience here with volleyball, and they will continue supporting our program too. So I'm very proud of that aspect.
Well, Coach, I'm sure after we disconnect with you, Marcus will tell us who those commits are. So you don't worry about it. I know Marcus already knows. So we
the one for 2024, I've already.
See, Coach, we already know. We'll share that off. We'll share that with Rattler Nation. We won't get you in trouble or anything like that. Hey, well, Coach, again, we always appreciate you and the time that you give to us. And we're always big supporters of yours and the program, and whatever we can do. We got to get some, Kelvin, we got to find a way to get some back-to-back shirts or something. You know, we have to make some. We got to get some back-to-back shirts or some FAMU volleyball shirts or something, so we can make sure we represent for the upcoming season. So, Coach, good luck this year. Much health and to everybody in the preseason, and man, we're ready to roll. We're looking forward to watching these games, and we're hoping that we can put another banner up there and get you in and see you guys win some more rings. So, thanks for your time tonight, Coach. God bless.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks
Be well.
Thank you.
All right. Again, Coach. So Marcus, who is he talking about? So I know you know the name already. Who is he talking about?
I do. I'm trying to get to my list right
Well, let's do this.
now.
Let's take a break. Let's go to break. When we come back from the break, Marcus can tell us who that recruit is that Coach Gokhan was talking about. And I believe we'll have Vaughn Wilson coming up as well from HBCUGameDay.com, and we can talk about the member number 368, Mr. Ken Riley, Sr., inductee into the 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame this past weekend. So you guys hang in there with us. We're going to take a short break. Be back in a moment.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Marcus Green, back with you. We should have Vaughn Wilson joining us shortly from HBCU Game Day. All right, so Marcus, who was that 2024 recruit that Coach Gokhan was talking about?
From what I could tell, her name is Natalie Johnson. She's a 5'11", 135-pound middle blocker from Connolly High School in Austin, Texas, and they play at the Class 5A Division I level for volleyball.
Okay.
So I was going to ask. She also does the high jump for a high school team.
Did we already do the whole hey, retweet, welcome to the family? Have we done that already with her?
I don't know. She committed July 6th. She put out a tweet. Well, actually, she did not, but her junior volleyball team put out her commitment.
Oh, I think I saw that one. I think you said that was from July.
Yeah, July 6th. So I probably retweeted that and said "fangs up" or something like that. But I don't know. I didn't see a formal announcement from her, and I was still trying to see if she had Instagram. I think she has Instagram as well. I think.
All right. Well, put that, if you find that, drop that in the chat, and then we'll make sure to
tweet.
Put the tweet in the chat, and we'll make sure to host that. All right. So while we wait on Vaughn, what happened with everybody's audio here? What did we discover in the time that with the audio issues? Come on now, talk to me. What'd y'all figure out?
I don't know.
I had to get some straightening. That's what happened. I had to go back to my roots. Hey, man, I want to go to Alabama, man, Montgomery, man. Because right now, that's the safest places in the world for black folks. On that real dog, ain't nobody messing with us. But no, man, I had to go back to my original headset, the whole soundboard.
Messing with folks trying to do their job.
Original setup.
You know, messing with folks while they're trying to do their job. Stuff comes back. I love the hat toss though, boy. That's what gives me signal. The smoke signal, like, okay, it's on. The bat signal. I need somebody to come get me here. I'll take a couple blows as long as the rest of y'all show up.
Oh, he was holding it down until like people came out the woodwork.
Oh, I mean, but it didn't last long. You know, it didn't last long.
Black Aquaman.
Yeah, man. Oh man, all day I was crying. I woke up like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, "What is this?"
I tell
all
you,
day Monday. There was no productivity out of me.
Yeah, I bet you weren't the only one. Hey, all right, our next guest is in. Let's go ahead and bring on Vaughn Wilson, HBCUGameDay.com, and there he is. Vaughn, good to see you tonight. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Still tired, but still beaming from this weekend.
Man, yes, indeed. I mean, obviously, a big weekend indeed. As of course, Ken Riley, your former coach, Rattler legend, one of Gaither's boys, 15 years in the NFL with the Bengals, gets inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So many just thoughts and questions I got for you. I'm sure Marcus and Kelvin do as well. But let's just talk about the journey up. Describe who you went with, how you made it, because it sounded like I heard one of your vlogs. It sounded like y'all drove, and I'm like, you really drove that?
Not a chance.
Okay,
Not
okay.
a
I
chance.
was wondering.
We flew into Cleveland because Canton is a small airport. We flew into Cleveland and then drove over.
Okay. All right.
And
So
my second shooter was my wife. You know, she's a FAMU journalism grad, and you know, she's a friend of the Riley family as well. So, you know, Brian, I got to tell a story about that. You know, sometimes when you give people an assignment and you don't give them like very specifics, or don't think about, they don't understand the decorum or the protocols of media, right?
Mhm.
So I gave my wife a handheld camera for the enshrinement ceremony. And so I go to the media photographers area. And Chris Berman is talking, and I look down right in front of him on the screen. I was like, is that my wife all the way up by the stage? Yes, it was her. All the way butt up against the stage filming. I mean, she was getting the job done, but it was just, that was one of those funny moments. You're like, whoo.
Like who's gonna tell her, ma'am, you're not really supposed to be here? Who's gonna tell her that? You know, it's like,
right.
Who gonna check me, boo?
Who's gonna check? I like the story where you were talking about how I think you said she was next to Peyton Manning and didn't even know like she was next to Peyton Manning. It's, you know.
So this lobby of the Doubletree Hotel, that's why all the Hall of Famers, they just take over that. So, you know, a big part of the Hall of Fame is the older Hall of Famers welcoming the new ones in. So they're all there, you know, those that are able. And so, I mean, this lobby was literally, you turn Jerome Bettis, Bill Cowher, Ray Lewis, Tony Dorsett, and Emmett, like I guess you saw my picture. I mean, you just, the who's who of football, and my wife is in that lobby. And some people, so the FAMU contingent was, you know, getting ready for the parade, and they're in that lobby. It just so happens that my wife is standing in one place for a while, and then one of the people came over to her and was like, "You've been standing by Peyton Manning for a minute, and you didn't even acknowledge him." She was like, "Who?"
Sheriff.
She's not a, but you know what? That probably is why he stayed there, because she didn't bother him, because she didn't know who he was. The only one she knew was Michael Strahan, and it had nothing to do with football. It was his
Good Morning
his
America.
off the field, is how she knew him. She likes basketball. She doesn't follow football.
Gotcha. Kelvin, go ahead.
Kind of talk about, I always do my complex questions. I want you to talk about your relationship with Coach Riley and this whole journey of starting to get him into the Hall, and then it culminating with him actually being inducted into the Hall, and then just the family, particularly Miss Riley, and what it meant to them, and just that experience.
Well, Coach Riley is the guy who, and Kelvin definitely knows this. At FAMU High, I mean, you have, your position is a slash. So I was a tight end, defensive end, kicker, punter, long snapper as well. You know, we just did everything. You know, and so I actually, my freshman year, I did not play football. I was not actually offered a scholarship by Rudy Hubbard, but I had a scholarship to the School of Business and Industry. You know, back then SBI would come get you as a junior. I mean, have you committed? I mean, they, Mr. Rosier, Kenneth Rosier came down there, and my papers were signed before I knew that I was in SBI. So I just said, if I wasn't playing at FAMU and I had offers at Appalachian State and Georgia Southern, SBI meant more to me than going to play football those other places. You know, I'd rather stay there. So my sophomore year, something happened to the long snapper. He didn't make his grade or whatever. Literally 2 weeks before the season, Rudy Hubbard said, "Hey, I need you to snap. I need you to, I know it's not the first thing you do, but we know that you can snap. And we already know you're academically eligible. You're an SBI." And so we got in, and I did that for 2 years. And then in that transition, Riley came, and Riley, upon the recommendation of Tony Messina, said, "Hey," he brought me in one day and said, "Hey, we need you to step back 15 yards. We need you back. getting us out of trouble. And from then, you know, the way that he did that, I mean, he basically said, we're depending on you. I mean, I just met the man. And so, you know, we were fortunate to have a great career there. And this is what I tell everybody about why I became really close to Ken Riley. Unlike a lot of my teammates, I had my father and mother all through that time. I had a strong man, my father, in my house. But somehow Ken Riley still made a way into me respecting him as that alpha male. It's just his nature. It's just everything about him, because you just knew this man did everything right. And so when I tell you about him being a special man, you know, for the kids who were from single parent homes, it's easily attached to him as a father figure. It's a little more difficult for somebody like me who had my father right there in town, you know, on campus, and he still did it. So that's the kind of man that I say that Ken Riley is, and why I became attached to him. And as we started seeing the years go by and him not going in, and me really digging into his pro career, I was like, wow, why isn't he in the hall? And Keith Miles and I were talking, and he actually came up with the theme Ken for Canton. Keith Miles came up with that. And so, you know, we eventually got a website and started doing petitions and writing articles everywhere I could write them to get anybody to listen to me and that sort of thing. And then 2019 came, and that's, to me, that was the heartbreak year for Coach Riley. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure that didn't contribute to his passing, because all those years he waited, that 2019 year, I think it was the 100th year of football. And he was like, okay, well, if I haven't gone in, this would be a perfect time to go in with the 100th celebration of football. And when it didn't happen, it was tough on me, because I knew he was kind of looking and hoping then. And so I actually interviewed him after that, and we kind of went through his thought process and those kind of things. And that actually made me start even stepping up what I was doing. It was right after that I started that petition that we got over 5,000 signatures on. And just start, you know, it's like when you believe in something, you may not know that it's the right thing, perfect thing to do, but you got to do something. If you believe in something and someone, you got to do whatever you can possibly do, and hopefully something may stick. And that's kind of what we did. And so when it actually happened, it was just amazing.
Can I jump in and ask? Because I know of late the Cincinnati Bengals got on board, and I know they did their first Ring of Honor in their 50th year. Like, they didn't have a Ring of Honor prior to that, correct?
You're absolutely right. And a lot of people say him being inducted into the Ring of Honor in 2021 catapulted this nomination, and I have to agree with it. We were up there with the Riley family for that amazing celebration. But you know, talking about Miss Riley, and she was just always just an absolute ultra nice person all around. And we happened to be going back up after the Ring of Honor, and Ken the second got the jacket and that thing, and we were all going back because they had each person going in the ring. Anthony Munoz and Kenny Anderson and Paul Bryan, they gave each family a booth, a luxury box. And we were going back to our luxury box, and the elevator was kind of crowded, so we just let everyone else go up. I told Ken's wife, Tiffany, I said, I'll ride up with Miss Riley. We'll just wait, because we just didn't want to get on that crowded elevator. And so it ended up just being the two of us riding up the elevator. And on the way up, I just said, wow, Miss Barbara, how nice was that? That was just amazing. And she started crying and said, I just wish he was here to see it. And I started crying. And then as we got up on the elevator, I said, Miss Barber, we got to straighten up before we get off this elevator. We just had a laugh and we kind of wiped our tears and got off. And it was just a moment with the family, but that also let me know how deep it was. And then that's when she started telling me, the stories of really how much it meant to him. And it made me personally just even want it even more for him. But I got to tell you guys, there was a side of me that was pissed off the whole time I was there, because why the hell y'all wait 40 years and the man just died 3 years ago? He hadn't changed the stat in 40 years. The record is what it is. You flashed it on TV on his last game that he was 4th in the league. Then he's 5th now, and you let the other person that tied him in. So that's
where I was asking. That's where I was kind of going, but I was curious if like maybe any other writers or people in those 10 years previous, any of them maybe come up and say, man, I know I wish I fought to try to get him in. I'm just it's all revisionist at this point, but I wonder did anybody come up to you maybe personally on the side or to just kind of be like, I love what you did, and man, we messed up. We should have had him in here 10 years ago, that kind of thing.
They didn't have to. When we were on that parade route, every single person that reached out to us, they finally let him in. They should have been let him in the whole route. And the parade, Wale Williams, Tony Ezel, and I, after the parade, we kind of grew. We was like, these people are very well aware, and they absolutely know. And they had a strong feeling that Riley, they were very vocal about the fact that they thought Riley should have been in, and it was a travesty. And I mean, Wally and I sat and looked at each other wide-eyed, like we never expected that much. First, I'm not used to parades. It's a beautiful job. VPAD Sykes did. I mean, she laid out the Rattler orange carpet. She bought a float. She bought a truck with a video screen showing Riley's highlights. She bought T-shirts for a high school band that was our band. The Bengals had their cheerleaders there with us. They had the Bengals mascot. We had Venom and Mrs. Venom. And it was a great showing. And the people appreciated it to hear, people that were not our color say, that's Florida A&M. That's the school that Ken Riley went to. It was a brand. Not only were we celebrating Riley, but it was a great opportunity to expose the FAMU brand.
Marcus, go ahead.
Actually, that kind of ties into a question. I'm like Kelvin, I have these complex compound questions. I guess some of it you may have already answered a little bit, but my first one was, what impact or importance does or will having Coach Riley finally being inducted have on the Tallahassee community, the FAMU, and the perception of FAMU athletics and academics? That's the first part. Second part, while you were there, did you notice any other inductees who had a contingent from their college alma mater there supporting them? Was it mostly on the pro side?
Not even close. There was nothing like what FAMU had. Nothing even close. That's why I said it was well thought out. And then they had little coins, little Ken Riley coins that they were packed. You can't throw things from the float, but that was why we had additional people that weren't players. They could pass them out. They could walk over to the people and pass out those little coins and those little footballs. So expanding the brand was done well. It was done with class. And then you got, one of the top Hollywood producers riding in a convertible. Will Packer was there. He wouldn't miss it, and when you hear people yell out, strike and strike and strike again, and it's like, yeah, this is a great opportunity to do branding along with celebrating and supporting Coach Riley.
Okay. And what about the impact, or what do you believe the impact would be, not only the Tallahassee community having, or even his hometown in Bartow, having him finally inducted in the Hall of Fame, but also FAMU itself, and perhaps for going forward in terms of athletics and academics, having 2 Hall of Famers and one as recent as this year.
I'll give you a great example. Going into the Hall of Fame Museum on Friday, I was over there to get some shots because I knew Saturday was going to be crowded and I needed to get some shots and some drone shots and all this kind of thing. And I saw a coach taking a black coach taking his little league football team into the hall, and I stopped and asked him. I asked him specifically. I said, will you explain to your team when you get in there about the athletes that went to HBCU? He said, absolutely. He said, I've already, kind of versed them on that. But now we're going to make sure that we actually, starting with Riley on the wall, because whoever's in that class, there's a big banners on the walls outside. So they started by taking pictures over there. So expanding even the awareness of Riley. And I think the good thing is every time they talked about him, they called him a Rhodes Scholar nominee. And that's as prestigious as being all SIAC and all of those things, because they're not. We all know they're not giving that nomination away to be considered a Rhodes Scholar nominee. So I think that's what people will learn about Ken Riley. Everybody knows he had those interceptions, but they didn't know about how smart the man was.
Thank you.
Vaughn, this is one of my favorite photos right here. Hold on, I gotta make sure it comes up here. All right, come on, add the stream. There it is. I love the coordination. I think it was either your tweet or post or maybe Greg's. The coordination of
he
the
called
orange
me
and the green, the Rattler F. Talk about that. I love that.
Greg and our relationship is just unlike any other. Is that as a kid, I used to shag balls for Greg when he was kicking at FAMU. And especially I used to love to do it on game days because he had a little puppy. Roger was his name. And Roger was not supposed to be in the field, but Roger would be on the field while Greg was warming up. And Greg used to warm with this long hat with a bell on the end because his nickname was Dingaling. And so we were we became friends. He's he a mentor to me I was at a very young age. This is 75, which means I was like 9 years old. Mm-hmm. And so Greg and I have been friends ever since. And that's one of the reasons I always want to learn how to punt, because I will see Greg doing it. Mm-hmm. And the events behind him. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to learn how to punt is right there. And you just don't meet a better guy. And as I started having success at FAMU, then I get a call, and he said, "Hey, you're thumping him, man. You're thumping him." I said, "Who is this?" He said, "This is Greg Dingaling." And he was playing with the Vikings at the time, and so that was just our bond grew from there, and we keep in contact all the time. And I can't wait for him to go into the Florida Sports Hall of Fame in October, I think it is, and it's in Jacksonville this year, so it should be a serious Rattler contingent over in Jacksonville. It's on a Wednesday, midweek, and we're very excited for Greg. But that guy there, that's a guy that I really love. He's been a mentor and a friend and just a class guy.
Couple other cool photos. Of course, you and Ken. They're having a moment, and then of course you get a pose there. I think Carmen took the one on the right, the one with you in the jacket. As a just from a nostalgia standpoint, I mean, your coach, your guy, your friend, your teammates, where do you put that in terms of nostalgic moments that you have been a part of? Where do you put this weekend?
Right at the very top. I would let me put him. I got two at the top. because I was media credentialed for Barack Obama when he first came, which means I spent a lot of time with him that day. And this was when, before I met him that day, I was sure I was voting for Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
But after meeting that guy and being with him all day, I was like, ain't no, man, this dude's something different about him, you know. So that day and this day, as far as they're neck and neck, because there was one part where I was so mad I was crying. I'm gonna just say this, and I haven't said this to anybody, but my wife knows. And yes, Jimmy Mack, it was a knit hat that Dingaling used to wear. He knows about that hat Dingaling used to wear. But on Friday night, when they get their gold jackets on the night before.
Mm-hmm.
We call it Jacket Dinner by Hager. And it's in the Civic Center, in the center on the floor. The players come up. But before they introduce this year's class, they introduce all of the other Hall of Famers that are there, and there were 106. I mean, just like who's who: Peyton Manning, Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones. I mean, just who's who. Everybody's there. What they do for and they line all these Hall of Famers up and in two lines facing each other. So when they announce the new one, they call it the gauntlet. You walk the gauntlet, and these players welcome you in to the Hall of Fame. And so it's just the most warm moment, you know. They're hugging, talking, having conversations, and you just know it's banter going on. It's laughter, you know. Just Rondé when he got to Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. I mean, they just took their time for a minute. That was their moment to just be welcomed into the group. And Rondé was first. That's when I started mad crying. I was crying mad because I wanted my coach to get that. Mm-hmm. He didn't get to get that. He didn't get to be in that fraternity, welcomed by all of the other greats to welcome him in. That was a tough moment for me. That was tough. It's still thinking about it now because I can see it. And it makes no sense whatsoever that he wasn't able to walk that gauntlet.
Agreed.
I've seen that Friday, and they don't do it. They don't broadcast it a lot, so it almost has this. It has this this air of almost secrecy or real exclusivity. That mystique. Thank you. There's the word. There's this mystique to that moment that only really recently started coming out because of social media. But previous, you would hear about it. You would hear about it, but you never really saw it. And then you started seeing little pitch, and so it still has this, like you said, hearing you describe it, it's surreal. Man. Kelvin, Marcus, you guys got anything you want to add with Vaughn before we close out with him?
Yeah, Vaughn, I'm interested as to what the other HBCU Hall of Famers who may have been present, along with, there's a lot of guys who from Florida who are part of the Hall of Fame with the majority of schools, but of course they know FAMU and the route and so forth. What was their reaction and how did they receive having a Rattler inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Let me tell you, Larry Little from Bethune-Cookman, have to give him a lot of credit. He was very vocal. And the other one that was really furiously vocal was Mel Blunt, who went to Southern. And then people like James Lofton, I don't know where he went to school, but those three were the main three that were beating the drum for the last 5 years. Like Mel Blunt was just, he would have just like, what are y'all doing? It doesn't make any sense. You know, he was very aggressive with it. Larry Little was himself. I think the Bengals, and I think Marcus alluded to this, and I didn't get to it because he had to give multi-part question, but I'm glad I get a chance to answer one part about the Bengals' involvement. They have to walk a fine. They can't do what we can do. They have to walk a fine line, in bucking that system, because I know they're trying to get next Kenny Anderson, the quarterback, in. So if they go and burn those bridges, for Riley, then Kenny Anderson then won't stand a chance. So they supported all of the efforts, but they just couldn't vocally blast it because they have, more legacy to try to get through.
I do have a quick one, and I was thinking about this, Vaughn, and just from your perspective. I know some of our more heralded players are probably in that senior type category, but are there any other FAMU players that you think might have a chance? I mean, there are a couple of names that come to mind, a couple of offensive linemen, but I'm just not sure if it's too long ago or if there are other off the field things that may prevent them from getting serious consideration despite their on-field accolades.
You just nailed the two names that I'm going to say. The two names that are FAMU's next best chance are Henry Killer Lawrence, who played with the Raiders for years, and John Madden, actually, in his acceptance speech on stage, said Killer needs to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't do anything, without Killer. So he acknowledged Henry Lawrence. So I don't know how we grab some momentum for him. And then, of course, Nate Newton from the Dallas Cowboys. Just about that whole line is already in, and so we're hope those two are probably our next best hope. And yeah, those are the next two possibilities.
Thank you.
Anything you want to mention, Vaughn, that maybe we didn't ask you that you want to share with us? Obviously, want to encourage everybody. I'll make sure I just saw the video that you put together and the speech. I'm watching, and I tweeted some pictures of this. I had to get somewhere where I could have some wings and be away from out of my house where I could watch the Hall of Fame ceremony, right? And I love Ken's speech where he made sure to mention the blood, sweat, and tears. I don't know if anyone caught that. I don't know how many people caught that. That was right at the end. Mm-hmm. And I was like, go ahead, Ken. Drop that reference about the blood, sweat, and tears it took to get there. And then he closed it out so beautifully. I don't know how, but I mean, that was the moment that kind of sent a chill down my spine. But anything from that you want to share that maybe we didn't talk about or that you want to share with everybody?
Well, the Bengals threw just the most elite reception after the ceremony for the Rileys to invite whoever they wanted to invite. So of course they invited all the Rattler contingents. It was out of exclusive. You couldn't even get in the neighborhood if your name wasn't on the list. That's how exclusive it was. And then we go to the clubhouse.
DJ, did you? You didn't have to DJ. They didn't ask you to DJ, did they?
No, they had a DJ.
Okay, good. I was like, it make me work.
Had all shrimp and crab legs and oysters and fine spirits and DJ, and they had an ice cream truck out there. I mean, the Bengals went above and beyond. It was just elaborate. When you walk up to this exclusive clubhouse, there are big Ken Riley 13 stickers on the door, and you go in the bathroom, use the bathroom. The soap dispenser had Ken's 13. It was that detailed. And then they had his jacket there. And I just say one lasting memory that I had when I was about to leave. I couldn't realize why I was staring at the jacket. And I was like, wow, that is a nice golden black jacket. It would have been great if that alpha man could have wore it himself.
Ooh, wow. Mm.
Yeah.
Damn.
I ain't mean to get everybody.
That's right. That's good, Vaughn. You got to.
I didn't mean to break the show down, man, but I'm just being honest, man. It's a double. I'm so happy it was done and it's done, but I'm so disappointed that he didn't get to get that jacket. He didn't get to do the gauntlet, but we'll count our blessings, that it actually did happen.
It's nice. I think what I really liked is so many folks like you. I saw between the Carmen and Michael Smith and people who know Ken, worked with Ken, and a lot of guys who so many people that knew and spent years, not like just like a short minute, but you guys spent years with Ken Riley. And so a lot of people who know y'all families know each other. I thought that was what was really cool. I think that's a connection and a bond that all of you have. And every time I watch one of those videos, I get a little chill just thinking about how connected you guys are in that spirit of the Riley family and Ken Riley, and just how the man he was and knowing him and what whether it's a big thing or a little thing that he did for all of your lives, how you all are a part of that, and all of you getting the chance to go to Canton and experience all of the good stuff. And yes, there were some, as you said, some sorrow-filled moments, but I think you guys have have something that will hopefully bring that smile. You'll talk about that forever. And I think that's what was really cool about seeing. Still to this day, I'm coming across. Thanks to the algorithm of social media, you come across stuff like 2-3 days late, and you're like, oh man, I wish I would have seen this 4 days ago, But I still get a kick after all the stuff that's out there, and I don't know, man. I hope it continues to grow the legacy of Ken Riley, the legacy of FAMU football, and as you said, the FAMU brand. I mean, we are in this golden era of FAMU, and we just, folks like yourself and all of those folks who travel, we just got to keep pouring into FAMU somehow, some way. And so that's all I got to say. Anything you guys want to, Kelvin, Marcus, anything you guys want to close with?
I'm looking forward to the FAMU field naming for the Riley. I'm really looking forward to that, and seeing the family there and giving them flowers in honor of Ken. So that's the next thing.
Is that going to be done? When is that going to be done? By the way, I heard
that's the first home game.
First home
September
game. Okay.
16th. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Cool.
Hey Brian, I gotta say one thing that still gets lost before we go. One thing that still gets lost of what is miraculous about Ken Riley's pro career.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was a quarterback all through his life.
Yes.
When he got drafted in 1969 and went up to Cincinnati, Paul Brown said, you're a cornerback. And they told him a couple things to do to go back and work on over the summer. And then they sent a guy down to train him and Ron Sellers. They were training together at Florida State. That's all he had between when he got drafted and when he reported to camp. He never played defensive back. He picked it up so fast that when the guy in front of him went down in game 5, he never got his job back.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
A position he had never played.
That's like Wally Pipp.
I was going to say he Wally picked it.
He Wally picked pro level. That's what I'm saying. That gets missed. He picked it up at the pro level, at a Hall of Fame level now, in a couple of months. That's a talented, smart, and dedicated man.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't a big passing era back then either.
And it wasn't even a big passing era.
That's another show. We gotta explore that. That's the next. I'd love to just like that should be some kind of thing, a contest or something that just says how many guys can do what Ken Riley did. How many quarterbacks can just all of a sudden in a summer turn around and be a defensive back. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know if did Ken Riley ever write any memoirs or anything about how he did that? Did he ever express to anybody how he did that other than, working with the trainer that you talked about?
No, he never did.
Jesus, man, that's crazy.
Hey, another interesting point is the fact that he led the league 3 years in interceptions and didn't make the All-Pro team those years. And 2 of those years were his last 2 years, right? When he was older, 35 and 36. 8 interceptions. That's amazing. And led his team to the Super Bowl that last year. Mm-hmm. That's just amazing, man.
Another thing about that team, those teams that he was on, while Ken was Ken was a DB on one side of the field. If I'm not mistaken, the Bengals, I don't know how I came to this. The Bengals had another good DB on the other side of the field who also was a punt returner. I can't remember his name,
Lamar Parrish.
Leaping Lamar.
Parrish. Yes. And they were the backfield for like a decade in Cincinnati. It was like Riley was on one side, Parrish was on the other side, but I think Parrish was also a punt returner, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But I don't know. I came across that little factoid. I forgot where. I think it was doing some research or something. And I just remember there was a little bit more attention given to Parrish because of the fact that he was a special teams guy in that Deion Sanders mode, DB / but Ken was the steady,
right?
Solid DB, get you the picks. He was the QB back there in the defense. I'm not even.
He was grown man.
It's so funny that statement that Kelvin made. Chris Berman made it, and then he just right in the middle of the Hall of Fame, he read a statement similar to what Kelvin said. He said, which is ridiculous, that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. He said this year, he led the league. He had 20 interceptions over a 3-year period, 9 in 1 year. He said in that year he didn't make the Pro Bowl. He said, which is ridiculous. So there are a lot of people that want to say,
there's people who have voted.
But I like the fact that Chris Berman, I've always liked him, and I like the fact that on that biggest stage, on that day, he said it out loud.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who have voting power and things like that don't need to have votes. I'll say it.
I agree.
They just don't.
I agree. That's a failure of duty. I mean, those stats didn't change for 40 years. That's a gross negligence of duty, I would say.
Yeah. What kind of stuff are you working on next, Vaughn? What you got in the hopper?
Right now, I go down to Bethune-Cookman on Friday to do the camp report from Bethune. That'll be interesting because when I went in the spring, it didn't look good. So I'm hoping they look better than they did when I went in the spring.
That don't break my heart at all, Vaughn.
Yeah.
But
maybe they'll carry that through November.
Bethune, and then I'll come back and do the one from FAMU, and we'll put those two together, and it'll be a part of a series we're doing, HBCU Game Day, the Road to the Florida Classic. So we'll be covering both schools and kind of put that together maybe once a month, to just kind of, highlight, our classic and the things that go up to it. And we'll get a chance to put some fun things in there, find some families that are interwoven and those kind of things. And Shine Wyatt's going to do an interview with me. That's always a good one. So
yes. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm just wondering, when you go down there, how much of that field that Ed Reed cleared out, what that field looks like, that did they finish the field turn?
And that's one of the things I'm reporting on. They were a little behind schedule in making that into a practice field. But it's back on pace now. You know, just like if you ever build anything and you got to deal with permitting and that kind of stuff, man. I thought it was a little ambitious. Even with the money, that'll have nothing to do with having funding there. Sometimes it's, but I think they've got it all cleared up.
All right.
And yes, Kenya Sykes. Yes, Kenya Sykes. We at HBCU game day, you know, our job is to promote HBCUs, and not a single one on our staff went to Bethune-Cookman. But when the Ed Reed situation happened, we kind of got tired of media people just coming down and shedding a light on what was messed up at Bethune. We just got, at some point, say it, but we got tired of it. And we were in position and we were able to buy them 14 helmets because that was an issue. And we're still proud of that because our HBCUs, as much as we're rivals, we got to scratch each other's back when we can. You know, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Bethune-Cookman's football program got started with a whole bunch of FAMU's old equipment. That was sent down there to help them get started. So, you know, everybody knows I bleed orange and green. It's FAMU to the day I die. All my money goes there and that sort of thing. But this wasn't that. This was, we were tired of seeing that HBCU look bad, and nobody was doing anything. I'm just saying, Roland Martin, how many shows did he do about that? But what did he do about it?
Right.
Except say what the problem was. The answer is not to keep saying what the problem was. The answer is at some point to try to solve it. And we were able to do our little part, and they were thankful. And you know, I bought more than that in helmets at FAMU with the money I've given them. It's not even close. But it was just it wasn't my personal money. It was our company's money, and we just put it toward that.
And I will continue to tell people, pay attention to the companies, whether it be and individuals that are actually doing things for HBCUs and not with HBCUs. There are a lot of people that do things with HBCUs and then all of a sudden you don't see them anymore. But the real people who are doing things for HBCUs, companies and groups of people like all the guys at HBCU Game Day who cover it, but they care about the schools and the people in it. And they're not there just to catch clicks and be loud and talk about problems. No, they put money behind it. And so all I say is, when y'all out here supporting people, pay attention to who's doing things for HBCUs and not just with HBCUs, so that, you know, they grow in popularity. That's all.
Right.
That's all. So props to you guys, Vaughn. Look forward to catching that stuff. And we'll talk. We got 25 days before the OBC, something like 18 days before the MEAC SWAC challenge. So man, football season will be here before you know it. So
absolutely, man. And thank you guys for what you do, man. I love your platform, and you guys keep it going, man. We need to gather together and dig down into things sometimes, and this is a great platform to do that.
Appreciate you, Vaughn. Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing everything. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Vaughn Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, HBCU Game Day. Make sure you hit Vaughn up on where can they find you at, Vaughn? Because I know you're all over the place. Where aren't you?
On Facebook, I'm on it's my name, Vaughn Wilson. On Twitter is DJ Ace 2000. Same thing for Instagram, DJ Ace 2000.
All right, you guys make sure to hit Vaughn up. Another Facebook. See y'all, us old folks, we on Facebook. Us
yeah, we on Facebook.
us old folks, we still on Facebook. So
hey,
you guys,
hey Bryan, it's so bad. One day I was like, "What the hell is this X on my phone?"
You didn't even know that it changed.
I didn't download this. I did the same thing. What is X? I ain't download this.
I didn't download. That's what I said. I didn't download that.
Baby, I didn't do this. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. That's what used to be Twitter. Okay, my bad. All right, Vaughn. You have a good night. Thank you, man. Thank you for everything.
All right, thanks, fellas. We'll talk later.
All right. Vaughn Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. Man, good stuff, man. God. Whoo. Man, how nostalgic. You know, I always wanted to go to one of those, to go to Canton. You know, it's like one of those moments that I think of all the Hall of I don't know, have you guys been, have either of you been to a Hall of Fame, Professional Sports League Hall of Fame, any of them?
No.
No, have not.
Okay, so my question is, which one? How would you rank in terms of order that you want to go to? Like we'll just say bucket list. Which one do you want to go to in first and foremost?
Well, I hope to go to one of them in 2 weeks, and that's the Black College Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
In Atlanta. I know it's a newer one, but yeah, I definitely want to see that one. And then next for me, I'm a football guy, so the NFL Hall of Fame is definitely a must do. And I would try to make it this year, but them Rattlers, man, they got me traveling so much. I had to choose, man. And if I have to choose, I got to go to the FAMU games on the road. I mean, I got to go to Baton Rouge, Houston, Huntsville, Miami, Tampa. So, you know.
Look, Kelvin's everywhere. Look, you're gonna make it hard for me to keep up with you. Marcus, what about you?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I mean, if you'd have asked me back, a long time ago, maybe back when I was down at FAM, I probably would have said baseball, because baseball was my first love. But and even though I'm a big Braves fan, I've been following them since Hank Aaron was there. But I probably have to put Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then the Black College Hall of Fame, and then MLB third. And I don't even keep up with the basketball, the Naismith Hall of Fame. I mean, I keep up with it, but I hear about it, but I'm like, it just, to me, it doesn't have the same level of not diminishing it in any way. But
yeah, once they let Tracy McGrady in, I'm out. I'm like, it's all over for me.
Well, not that. It's just I'm kidding. Baseball and football. I don't know if the Basketball Hall of Fame, I don't know if they tout it as much. It doesn't seem to have that level of mystique and nostalgia. I don't know what it is. It just seems like it's not as put on a pedestal as the Pro Football and the MLB.
I think with the pro basketball, again, it's pro basketball. So, or not? Is it even pro basketball? No, it's just basketball. So
yeah, was it Naismith basketball?
Yeah. So really, you get all kinds of levels. You get professional. You get collegiate. Individuals. You get teams, coaches. I mean, it just is a hodgepodge or a potpourri, rather, is a better word of saying it, of greatness. And it just is like, hey, there's greatness in so many ways. I think what I still maintain, what a Hall of Famer is. If you have to wonder, like the biggest thing I hate in sports today is when they start referring to people as future Hall of Famers, because a guy who has a good first 5 years of his career could all of a sudden take a bad turn left and have 3 bad seasons. And now you're in year 8 and you're like, is he still a Hall of Famer? Because at the beginning of his career, we were talking about him as a future Hall of Famer, but really he stunk these last 3 years. And the trend is really going towards him stinking even another 2 or 3 seasons, But I feel like when you have a decade, if you can have 8 to 10, whatever your 8 to 10 best years are, if you were at the top of the league, then you're a Hall of Famer in my book. Especially in pro football, where the body can go. I mean, running backs are good until what? The age of 28, 29? And then
I even do it different with running backs in the NFL. You got a 5 to 6 year window.
Ooh,
if you get in it, you got a 5 to 6 year window, no matter what your age is, and then you have diminishing returns. I mean, your body just get beat down. So yeah. Whether you 25 or 22, hey, after 5 years, you can't really expect a lot more than that. Look at Zeke. Zeke got paid with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And it was never the same.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's kind of hit on a few other things before we close out the show. I know we're well over.
We're always over.
Phil, yeah, we're gonna have to work on that. We're gonna have to work on that. The Rattlers lead the SWAC with 17 Phil Steele preseason all SWAC selections. Jeremy Musa, preseason offensive player of the year. Let me see.
But he wasn't on the Walter Payton list. That did kind of surprise me. Watch list.
Who, Musa?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That didn't surprise me because statistically, he was so far under where some of those other dudes and those quarterbacks were that made the list.
It was 15 of them. He wasn't too far from the last 5 or so.
I mean,
but he'll get a chance to put his name on the list, though.
Oh, for sure. I just wonder if he has the kind of numbers where he passes for over 3,500. I mean, literally, I think he would have to pass for over 3,500 yards. And we're talking, if that's the case, then we're talking several 300+ yard games. And that's going to be challenging unless we're offensively putting up 45 points a game, which is possible.
I don't think it's challenging for this team for this particular reason. Our defense is going to be elite. I really don't think teams going to have long drives against us, and they're going to turn the ball over a lot. And I'm counting on this. I'm projecting. I'm counting on having a better running game. And if we have a good running game, I see it.
Now I'm not gonna disagree, but I actually ran some numbers, and it was gonna be part of our football review. But if you look at the last 3 years under Coach Simmons, our run pass ratio is hovering right around 52 to 53% slanted towards the pass versus the run. But
it's not as lopsided. It's not as lopsided.
Not as lopsided, right? Yeah, you would think it would be more lopsided, but right. our median passing yards are probably around 2,600 for those 3 seasons. So that includes Ryan Stanley's last year and 2022, where we had 2021 where we had Rashawn McKay, and 2022 year 1 of Musa. So I mean, just looking at the numbers and trying to look at it from that standpoint.
Not the numbers, not those numbers. What I'm looking at is production, explosive plays.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's true. We've not been a big time explosive production with a strong running game. I think that's where we can separate, and because we have so many numbers and so much depth, there'll be opportunity there. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. See, I think, look, I see people want FAMU to run the ball. Yes, we want them to run the ball. But if you go back and look, and Marcus, your stats, you probably looked at the same stats I looked at. In the 2 years in which we had running games that were in the, let me see, of course, the Bishop Bonnet year, and then the 2 years prior to that. So it would have been the Bonnet was the 2020 year.
2021.
No, 21 year, and then it would have been
2019.
Actually, no, it would have been the 18 year, 2018. The COVID year was 2020.
Right.
So it
would have been 19.
Yeah.
The last MEAC year.
No, second to last MEAC year. Because what happens is Simmons had a great running game. And that what's funny is the great running game, that was the game the season that we had a 3-game lead going in November and basically lost those last 3 games of the year.
Injuries.
Yeah. Right. But the running game was, we ran for like 1,700 yards that season as a total. Then the next year is the Stanley season, his senior year. His numbers went up, but the running game went down. I think it was about 1,200 total yards.
Yeah, about 1160. Well, I'm looking at it now, 1164.
Okay, you see it. Yeah, then the COVID year happened. Then we came back, going into the SWAC, Bishop Bonnet, running game numbers went high,
1,900 yards.
Yep. Then last year, we all know what happened last year. So that's why I keep saying, but if you look at the passing numbers, like the number of passes we threw, it didn't change.
No, it did not.
I was looking at that. Yeah,
about 400 plus. Our average is about 408 passing attempts, and about 370. Well, I don't have 2018 data, so I just have 2019, 21, and 22. So our average rush attempts were about 369, 370 per season across those three, and 408 pass attempts. So we basically have a 52% ratio of pass to run. And our average pass yards are about 2,900, and average rush yards, including that big bump in 2021, as average is about 1,365, maybe a shade, if you round up to 1,400, but, probably closer to 1,350 rush yards. So I don't know to what degree we should expect. Maybe the numbers will go up, but in terms of the run pass ratio, which is what I was kind of looking at, trying to look at the last 3 seasons where we had 9 wins each, should we expect a big departure from the play calling?
If Musa can, I don't know about the play calling, but I think it's completion percentage.
Yes.
Musa has to throw in the 60% this year.
Mid 60s. Yeah.
The last 3-4 seasons we hadn't had a quarterback hit in the 60%. So I mean, if he hits 61, hell, he might. And I don't know, you're looking at the numbers, Marcus. That might be the first in a Simmons era. I don't know what Ryan Stanley did in Simmons' first year. That would have been Stanley's junior year. But 61, I'd love to see mid 60s. I mean, 60, Kelvin, if he throws mid 60s, we're getting not only the 3,500 yards I'm talking about, we're also going to get the 40-something, 45 points a game that we're talking about, and we're going to get that 10th, 11th win.
Yeah, correct. Agree. Definitely agree.
Yeah. So, all that to say. So, Phil Steele, that was one of the talking. Let's see, that's what we had in there. If you, I would hope that you guys are reading Gerald Thomas's Hard Knocks series on the Tallahassee Democrat. I don't think those are even behind the paywall. I think they are free. Anyone know, or anybody reading them? I'm paying.
I'm reading them.
I'm paying. I'm paying. So I don't know.
Okay, I am too. So I'm not sure. I got to argue with somebody about I don't know. I got to make sure. I don't know which. I saw a bill come in. I'm like, am I still paying for that? I don't even know anymore. All I know is when I see it's more than $2.99, I get upset. But anyway, that's a great series that Gerald is doing, and we're gonna get Gerald.
Yeah.
We're working on something big. We're working on something big. I don't want to say it and jinx it. It's something we talked about offline, but with a few people. But because I'd love to hear what everyone's opinions are about this season. But I want to give a shout out to Gerald and what he's doing. I'm assuming he's waking up every morning and he's out there at 6 o'clock in the morning when they practice. But he's and what's crazy is his tweets. He's sending updates and tweets. So the last couple of days I've been in class or meetings and I'm reading stuff and I'm like, doggone, who's throwing these interceptions? And I'm reading like, what? Jordan Moore got another pick? Who threw it? And so I got like, hold on, I got to go back and read back through tweets and stuff. So not only is Gerald sending out tweets, but he's also posting. So if you guys don't have Gerald Thomas III of the Tallahassee Democrat, if you're not following him on X or Twitter or whatever they call it these days, you should be. And then if you're not reading his training camp stories, you should be. He just did one on the running backs. So that was pretty good. We got a new athletic trainer. Just kind of transitioning here. Let me share the screen for those of you who are watching us online. Of course, welcome to the highest of Seven Hills. Kenneth Lassiter as the new head athletic trainer at FAMU. He is coming from Fayetteville State University. And so good program out there at Fayetteville State. Looks like Lassiter had been at Fayetteville State University as their head athletic trainer and director of sports medicine. He served as a primary ATC for football, men's basketball, and softball, and supervised a team of volunteers while he was there at Fayetteville State. Prior to that, he was an outreach athletic trainer at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth Health Systems, providing care and coverage for Virginia State University's 17 Division II sports. Of course, A.D. Sykes, being a Virginia State grad, got ties there. Wouldn't be surprised. There's some references and connections from off of that line. Also in the news, FAMU Athletics celebrates 23 summer graduates. Football led the way with 8 graduates, followed by men's basketball with 4. Softball had 3. Baseball had 3. Men's track and field had 2. Cheerleading, women's track and field, and women's basketball had 1. Of some interesting names of note in softball, you had Christiana Beasley, who was the former pitcher.
Kayla Irvis.
Yeah, Michaela Irvis. In baseball, I don't know any of those names stand out in baseball. Cameron Kelly, John Long, Jackson Hall. Women's track and field, Mia Hurd. Men's track and field, Quentin Williams. Men's basketball, you had Chase Bars. Some of the other names I don't recall these guys ever playing. Maybe they did. For football, congratulations, Isaiah Major, Jordan Moore, Leland Wilhoit, Michael Williams, Kamari Thompson. Some of the names. Those are guys who graduated and got their BS and now will hopefully pursue their masters while they finish up here. I gotta think, Kelvin, with some of these recent graduates between, and I'm gonna go to football and that whole nasty APR numbers. I gotta imagine between the graduates from this spring and this summer, APR numbers for next year will probably look a lot better, wouldn't you think? No? Okay, let me move on then. I don't know. I don't have a calculator. I thought Ken had I thought Kelvin had a calculator. I thought he was doing the math on that.
We'll see.
It may be better. It may be better. It still may not be what we needed. We'll have to see.
All right. What else did I leave out, guys? Anything else you want to mention?
Fan Day.
Yeah. Good point. When is that? I think that's
well, there's the Fan Day sponsored, I guess, by the school formally, the 20th. I think that's whatever.
Right. Sunday, August 20th.
Sunday, August 20th. And I think a week later on the
autographs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me. So Fan Day Fan Day, sponsored by FAMU Athletics, is Sunday, August 20th, 2 to 4 p.m. in the Al Lawson. Fans have the opportunity to get autographs from the football and volleyball teams. And then the boosters, when is that?
It's a week later.
Now, is that also coinciding with the booster luncheon? Isn't that what that is?
I think so. Oh, Mr. Morgan's dropping some.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's a fundraiser.
So it's called the Fall Sports Kickoff, which that'll be Sunday, August 27th, 2 to 4 p.m. in the All Lawson Center. See, okay. Can I be messy for a second?
Sound like you finna.
You know what I'm about to ask. Marcus is about to tell me Bryan don't do it. So I'm over here your hands, Kelvin. Can I be messy for a second?
Go ahead, man. You know.
Why in the heck? Why are the boosters? What? No, I'm not gonna put this on the boosters. I'm gonna put this on athletics. If the booster, because the boosters fall sport kickoff has been out way longer than the athletic department's fan day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this is where, how do I say this? If this is the boosters fundraising opportunity for your department, athletics, this isn't an NIL thing. This isn't NIL. This isn't the boosters saying, hey, we're doing an NIL luncheon. No, the boosters are trying to raise money, tickets $50, in which for the volleyball and football programs or the fall sports, where most likely, guess what could have and should have happened, the players from those programs. Now, I don't even know if volleyball will be in town that weekend because of the date. So that may be a challenge. But wouldn't you expect there to be some meet and greet signing things going on? But we're gonna do the exact same thing the week before.
It's not the same. One is for they always had two, ever since I've known, they've always had two different events. One is geared more toward the community, and it's just like a general fan day. The other one is a fundraiser that has meals and so you have to, there's more logistics and planning that goes into that. And so I don't see
you can't do both. Why
they are doing both.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess what you're saying
is in one time. Yes. Why can't they both be coordinated at the same time? I mean, why?
That has happened once or twice, but there's some logistic things involved with that. First of all, these are student athletes, so they got schedules and things that they're doing. So I don't know if you can tie them up for that amount of time continuously.
Volleyball is on the road. Just to let you know, volleyball is in Birmingham, Alabama, the week of the Rattler boosters thing.
Yeah, and then dividing. How do you separate folks who have paid and for this exclusive experience? Because you got to remember at the tables, the way they had the tables set up, if they're going to continue to do it the same way, you sitting at tables with a student athlete, and there's some of that back and forth you're talking about is an exclusivity is a part of that process. So they do both, and I see no issue with doing both. That's just me. I don't know if it's that big of a deal, to be honest. You get two different crowds.
Not entirely, because the same put it like this: the boosters, they're gonna be there at fan day, getting the autographs and stuff too.
They're gonna be on the fence Washington. They're gonna be, you know, when the team travel, the boosters are gonna be the boosters. The people who support the team gonna be the supporting team. Again, I think there's value in Bryan. What you got to realize, and I'm looking at you now. What you got to realize, part of what makes a family is that we're inclusive of the community, and so this is a chance for some of the kids who may not be able to go to every game, or some family and friends to, you know, to come out and just meet and get people fired up and excited. You know, not everybody's going to go to the and there's limited capacity, frankly. Usually it's a sellout. The boosters event is usually a sellout, so there's limited capacity also. So this is a way to get, you know, more people access to just, you know, meet players and put face. You know, we visual, man. We want to see the people. You want to touch them. You know, it means a lot to those kids, you know, to see their favorite players and so forth, man. So don't take nothing from the kids, man. Don't take it from the kids.
Okay, I'm not trying to take it. Look, I'm not trying to be the Grinch here. I'm not trying to be the Grinch. I get it.
I can't tell it. I can't tell it.
Look, all right. Look.
Grinch.
Okay, look.
I get what you're saying, Bryan, in terms of coordination and everything.
Let's coordinate. So that way the student athletes don't have to come, and the coaches don't have to come to two different events. There should be a way to pull this off and do it all within one day. You know, I mean, even if it were overlapping, you know, the fan day is from 2 to 4. The booster thing starts at 3 to 5. So that way, technically, you're talking about a 3-hour.
Hey, Bryan, you know what that requires?
We trying to raise money. Are we trying to raise money?
But you know what that requires? People working together. Us.
Oh, gee. I mean, we're working together. We're trying to rate. Man, stop it. Let me go get this. We work together when. Anyway. All right. Okay. Fair point. I'm gonna stop complaining. I want Fan Day to be successful. I want the boosters event to be successful as well. I was just trying to look for ways to coordinate. You know, coordinate. That's all. I'm just asking the questions. Don't beat up.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad.
I appreciate everybody for bringing it home and making me being more understanding. I appreciate y'all. All right. Yes, I know there's some schedule issues. A couple people brought up the schedules and things of that nature. All right. Final notes here that I'm seeing on our rundown list. This weekend is Be Out Day in ATL in Atlanta. That is interesting. I'd love to have the ability to go and do a show up there. But I don't have the ability to do that. So we won't be there. But for you Atlanta Rattlers and the Georgia Rattlers, I hope you have a good time at Be Out Day. Take some good photos. And feel free to share with us. Can I give one final reminder here before we close out about the opportunity here for those of you who have not bought your Orange Blossom Classic tickets? Okay. You can, let me find it. Yep. JustLookingOut.com. Our good friend Mike Reed has generously offered a portion of the ticket sales so that when you purchase his premium club level seats, Mike has seats in section 249, which if you can see the orange section there, the band is sitting The band is in 150. The marching 100 is in 150. Mike has club level seats in section 249 and then some spillover in section 250. So not only can you get a good seat by the band, but you also get a chance to go into suites and eat and drink and stay cool should you choose to spend some time inside. That's $109 each. And what you do is when you go to the website, justlookingout.com, and all you got to do is when you go to purchase your club level ticket, right here in this group code area, you just have to put in the code BCSN or StrikeZone. You can also send your purchases to Mike on Cash App or Zelle. Here's his information here. If you have questions, there's the phone number and there's his email. We're going to look to partner with Mike on some different things, some post-game, some tailgate stuff, pregame and post-game stuff. I know there's things happening in Tampa. We were even talking about doing some stuff in Texas, in Houston, since Kelvin's already booked his flight. So at least I know that just means I have to get there now. So Kelvin's already booked his flight to Houston for the Texas Southern game and some other events. So it's an opportunity to support the ONG Strike Zone because we get a small little sliver of each ticket that you purchase. So I want to encourage you guys to go to justlookingout.com and purchase your club level tickets for the Orange Blossom Classic. The last time FAMU, the final strike, as other schools move into Florida to take advantage of all that money that's being thrown around. I'm sorry. Just had to say it. It's happening. It's happening. So, but that's all right. You know, we shall rise. All right. Any other final thoughts here, guys, so we can get out of here? Marcus, you got anything you want to close out with?
No, just one more week closer to football.
Yes, sir. Kelvin, anything you want to close out?
Yeah, two things. I'll be going to the scrimmages. I don't like to go to practices early on. I like when, they done got acclimated and they really competing for position. So I'll be going to any weekend scrimmages, one. And so we'll talk a lot more football. I'm not sure. I have to check in schedule. I know they're having two. So the first game is the 5th, or the 3rd, or whatever it is. So they won't do one the week before that. So do we have 2 more Saturdays? So yeah, there should be one this Saturday and next Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And then the other thing, I want a friend of the show, been doing some good work. Anthony Lawrence collection. He has this nice white bomber jacket coming out. Mine is already ordered and on the way to go with my shoes. So
Oh yeah.
So I will be styling and profiling at the games this year. Different outfit every game.
Look at you. Those shoes. Unbelievable. No comment on the shoes. It's too much cleaning I got to do. Although I appreciate I wish I had my email pulled up. I appreciate the friend of the show who sent me some great suggestions on cleaning white shoes. So yeah,
send those over to me.
Yeah, I'll forward that. I thought I forwarded one email to you, but I'll check. I'll re-forward you again some great suggestions on taking care of clean white shoes.
Baby wipes.
Yes, baby wipes is one of them, but we had this discussion. I'm gonna stop. So
yeah.
As soon as you said it, my mind went there again.
There you go. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Greatest invention next to a toothbrush and toothpaste. That's all I'm gonna say. Got to thank Coach G, Garfield, Ellenwood II. Great conversation regarding track and field. I really love where our track program. Interesting to hear the philosophy, and that we even though I think I find it interesting that I think the schools that have won the SWAC title have done it in large part because they end up having somebody in every event, and they just kind of amass so many doggone points. But if we have the right talent and can win the events we're supposed to win, it becomes a moot point.
Well, it's the same. It's the same philosophy of what he's expressing, right? But instead of Dr. Moore, her focus is more on the long distance and field events. What he's saying is that he's going to recruit heavy, and he's in the state of Florida, between Florida, Georgia, and so forth. There's a lot of sprinters.
Oh,
and
for sure.
And his background is in sprint, so
and
he's been successful at that. So I do get it, and I'm kind of interested because I remember, our history in track is a bunch of great sprinters.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, look, this past year we had the top 4x100 women's relay team. It just so happens, unfortunately, that they finished a tad slow in the SWAC championship meet and ended up second. But in terms of time during the season, they had the best time, period. Also found it interesting the being able to restructure or being able to remodel the FAMU track in a way that makes it conducive for athletes and teams to want to come to FAMU. I had never thought about the concept of being able to change direction on your sprints, your relays. I never. I'm like, really? You can do that? I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, I'm fascinated. So that makes sense, I applaud him for sharing that. Just a great interview. Glad we had a chance to do it. Also, Coach Gokhan, man, always love talking to him, man. Just always fun talking to him, talking about this team and his excitement. I mean, this is we lost a lot. I mean, but follow me here. The same equivalent that I have been harping on about Jackson State football and all that they have lost, we in volleyball just lost two probably the best players in the SWAC, in Iram and Dominique. Mm-hmm. And so the recruiting is going to come through, and the coaching and the recruiting, we're going to see it this first season. Can this team, can this young team, inexperienced together, really overcome their newness, so to speak? You know what I'm saying? And I think that'll be interesting to watch.
They got a little more length than they normally have. They got about 3 or 4, I believe, that are above 6 foot. So they got a little more length, and I think he went with a little more athleticism, and he's been trending that way. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to see how it comes together too.
And that's why I was asking the question about whether the philosophy is going to change or style. And I know he doesn't want to reveal a whole lot, but I mean, you look at, I'm not a volleyball aficionado by any stretch. I just like when we win. But, in terms of power, Dominique was like banging balls all over, and Aja Jones was as well. And I don't know to what degree we have the same people with the power. And we don't really know. We have 9 new players, 5 freshmen. 4 freshmen and 5 transfers.
Yeah.
And so we have to see how they mesh, whether the style of play changes based on their skill set that they bring, and how that works out. And not only in terms of them being new to the team, but also if they have a different set of skills that mesh with the return. Like last year, Brooklyn Watts was the newcomer of the year, and she got big points for us. So you have a nucleus of players who've been there, showed their talent last year, but also a couple have been there a couple of years.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Isis Williams,
Yep,
and a couple others. So it's going to be the experience, a small core of experience. So it's like 7 players who are returning and 9 new players between the transfers and the high school recruits.
Yep.
So they're going to have to play.
Yes. Well, and also the one thing that I picked up out of the interview with Coach Gokhan, we got to find some money for volleyball so that we can have our girls during the summer. Hello. Hello. We stand on the tables and pound on the tables to get that done for football. We want to keep being a championship volleyball program. We got to find a way to get some extra money in the coffers for volleyball so that we can get those girls on campus for summer school sooner. Sounded like that's something Coach would really like to have.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense for a fall sport. They're the first sport that plays in the fall, so it will make sense for them, especially because of they bring in 4 to 5 new players every year. So having them for the summer orientated probably would be helpful.
Yeah.
And they have such a short window mandated by the NCAA in terms of when they can start practice.
That is ridiculous. That is, man.
So literally 2.5 weeks before their first game is when they can report and start practice.
That's crazy. I don't understand
how everybody's under the same.
Yeah. Oh, everybody deals with that, but still, everyone's got to
change. Yeah, that's got to change.
Yeah, but if you can afford schools that can afford, if you can afford like schools like I guess like a Texas or
Florida.
Wisconsin, who are typically in the top 25 and especially the top 4, like Texas, Wisconsin, Penn State, they can afford to have their players. And I guess I don't know. I'm assuming volleyball would be under the same restrictions as football would be as it relates to the summer. You can't have an actual coach, but maybe the strength and conditioning. I don't know that for sure. I don't know the rules, but even to have them cohesively come together as a unit over the summer for having 9 new players in our case this year would do wonders.
Hey, the dirty little secret about volleyball at the high school level, doggone man, they playing during the winter. Volleyball in most places is a fall sport, right? In high school. But guess when the club season is? The club season starts in December, November even. So guess what? A lot of those volleyball girls, they don't play winter sports, i.e. basketball. And then it becomes a spring summer sport. So guess what else they're not playing? Softball. And so, I mean, the fact that grassroots volleyball is practically 7 months out of the year outside of the high school season, and the NCAA only allows them this very small window, that's crazy. That is completely 180 to what all of those coaches and girls are in, and it's, I don't know, man. I'd love to hear more. We don't talk about volleyball and the volleyball coaches and the NCAA because everybody's focused on the NCAA football and conference realignment and all that other stuff. But man, that's a big story there in certain. Well, it should be a bigger story. That's a better way of saying it. Okay, and so appreciate Coach Gokhan. Appreciate Vaughn Wilson coming in. Man, that was an awesome interview as well. So hopefully you guys go back, listen to any parts of this show. You can, of course, catch the YouTube feed on the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. We're about to drop the subscriptions. You can become a member of Jericho Broadcast. Not just subscribe, but you can become a member. And by becoming a member, it'll give you a chance to catch some exclusive content. We're going to be dropping exclusive-only shows that subscribers can get. So if you're a member of the JBN YouTube page, you will get access to custom shows. I got an idea for a custom show that I think we will drop behind the membership wall. And I think that's, just stuff like that. Post-game reaction shows from our various co-hosts with the BCSN. You're going to all of that, as well as first watch interviews that we do sometimes before we drop them live on shows. You get a chance to watch them first by becoming a member of the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, which is the Black College Sports Network. So I want to give everybody that heads up. It'll be dropping soon. We appreciate your support. Go download the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen and download podcasts. That's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google and Apple Podcasts. Excuse me, and more. Thank you for following us. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG StrikeZone is where you can find us. For Marcus Green at Decatur_G. For Kelvin Rozier at Rozier Kelvin. And for me, Bryan Fulford at DRB365. That's where you can find us. So you guys be safe out there, and bangs up, everybody. And hold them chairs tight. Everyone should just be riding around town with a chair in the back seat. Just never know when a brawl might break out. You got to defend yourself or your people with a chair.
Everybody got one.
Everybody got one. Better know when to use it. Not that we and by the way, we don't condone violence, but we do condone protecting your family.
Amen.
With that said, that's how we wrap it up tonight. You guys be safe. God bless. Make sure to strike, and strike again, Rattler Nation. Peace out.
Thank you.